Hello, my friends, and welcome to this blog about loving the Leo within. A number of topics have come to my mind for this blog, and so there are some ideas with which you may not agree, and I get that. But remember, when you go to the supermarket, do you take everything off the shelves? Or do you have a look and see what's there and then choose? So I would urge you to listen to what I've got to say and take what works for you and leave the rest. And remember that there are many paths up the mountain to the same destination. And because we're not on the same one, doesn't mean to say we're wrong. But let's just respect each other for having differences, but having a similar destination in mind. Yesterday, which was Wednesday, we had a new moon in Leo. And there's only a few days to go in the energy of Leo. But we've got wildly fluctuating energy all around us. And at times like this, it's really important to stay grounded. And that means taking care of ourselves at all levels. So that's the physical body, it's our emotional body, and it's our spiritual body. So find your courage in this Leo time to embrace your light and your power, because you've got more than you think. Leo is about creativity. So create a vision in your mind of how you want to live. And then take some time out. Remember, we're in home detention. And imagine how it feels when you enjoy this new way of life that you are imagining. The new moon today, or the new moon on Wednesday, is 26 degrees in Leo. And it's about love and romance. But you know, we have to love ourselves and value ourselves in order to attract the connections we deserve. So, do you love yourself enough? You can work on it. The energy around us is volatile, and whether we like it or not, we are being drawn into a new way of living. Many of us have been programmed to believe that we are controlled by powers outside ourselves, when in fact we have so much power within, it's scary. Remember the quote by Marianne Williamson, and she says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." Where's your light? And why is there so much focus on the physical body? The physical body is our body, or our vehicle for this lifetime. And when our body is healthy and well, our mental and emotional health is also good. When we have excellent physical, mental and emotional health, the unseen spirit which animates us can actually communicate with us and help us evolve. In a few days, we will move into Virgo energy on Sunday the 23rd. And Virgo is very much associated with physical health, our work, our ability to discriminate what's good for us and what's not, order and perfectionism, amongst many other wonderful attributes. And we've all got Virgo in our chart somewhere. In order for us to manifest our spiritual aspects, we have to ensure that our body is clean and clear, so that those pure spiritual energies can actually be experienced. Some of us are perceived as more spiritual than others. And that may or may not be true. But does that stop you reaching for that realization for yourself? Everybody is at a different step on that ladder, and it doesn't matter as long as you're making progress. So your physical health is therefore important. In previous blogs, I have talked much about diet, exercise, rest, and most importantly, breathing. And with the changes being encouraged in our society, we really need to focus on what we can do within ourselves while we evaluate whether what is being proposed for us is actually right for us. So this short discussion is focusing on the pineal gland, often referred to as the third eye or the eyebrow center. And what is it and why is it important? If you check my blog or my website, you can find a reference to a reference that will give you much more information about the pineal gland. But described by Descartes as the seat of the soul, the pineal gland is a tiny little pine cone shaped gland right in the middle of the brain. The main function of the pineal gland is to receive information about the state of the light-dark cycle from the environment. Melatonin is secreted during the dark period of the day, that's at nighttime, which is why it's so important to sleep in a quiet, dark place. And the pineal gland is also the master gland of the endocrine system, which controls the body rhythms, your maturation, and your decline. In yoga, the pineal gland is the focus of the headstand, or whatever substitute inverted posture you may use. I use often Nagasana, the elephant, because most people can no longer do headstand. But never try headstand unless you have a qualified teacher there to help you. This headstand or substitute is always the last class in any Gita sequence. And the pineal gland, the eyebrow center, facilitates the spiritual connection between ourselves and the superconsciousness, the energy that pervades everything around us. The pineal gland is very active in people who have strong psychic skills. Now, sadly, there is much evidence to suggest that fluoride in our urban water supplies has and is contributing to the calcification of this gland. Now, fluoride has been promoted as being amazing for our teeth and our bones, and maybe it is. But on the other hand, the effect is that it's diminishing our ability of the pineal gland to respond to spiritual energy and information. It's diminishing our ability to develop our intuition. Do you think that's good? Another thing, and I mentioned it last time, as a means of checking temperatures, folk are pointing laser beams right at our heads. What sort of conditioning is that? What does a laser beam do to our pineal gland? What does a laser beam do to our brain, our eyes? It may be too early to know, but I usually offer my wrist for a temperature check. Doesn't always meet with approval. The last time I did that, I got pursed lips. We can't all agree, but we can respect our differences. The mainstream media would persuade us that it's all harmless. But you know what? At this stage, I do not trust mainstream media one iota, because it is controlled by vested interests. And its best idea is to put fear into the population, because fearful people are much more easily controlled. Are you fearful? Do we need to work on it? The mainstream media feeds the public what the mainstream media and the vested interests want the public to know and believe. And that is why it's important for us all to ask questions constantly. Where did this information come from? What value does the research behind it have? How valid is it, really? And seek answers in as many places as you need to until you feel you have the correct answer. I have found that seeking some things on Google no longer yields the correct information, because the answers that they don't like, they just simply edit it out. Since when is Google the filter for what we need to know? Since when is Facebook the informed filter about what we need to know? These were originally platforms that we could freely exchange ideas, but there's some censorship happening there. I'm not happy about that, but we find ways of working around it. Now, to do with the physical body also is glyphosate. What the hell's that, you say? Well, that is the main ingredient, the active ingredient in a product called Roundup, which was introduced into our community as an amazing weed killer and has been used very effectively since then for that purpose. I've also heard that in places, I think possibly, I believe, I've been told not in Australia, but other places in America, that they routinely spray Roundup a few days before they harvest so that they can kill all the weeds, because it doesn't actually affect the harvest. No wonder we've got residual glyphosate in our bodies. So when we talk about glyphosate, how much did the farmers use? How much did the domestic gardener use? Evidence suggests that the domestic gardener used Roundup in far greater concentrations than that used by the wide acre farmers. We were told that it is harmless to us and to animals, and I used it. I used it in my garden in Surrey Hills. Yet the evidence is there and now emerging that our bodies have some residual glyphosate, that active ingredient in Roundup. There is increasing evidence that it is more detrimental to humans than previously thought. And what about the animals? What about the animals who graze in our fields, from whom we may or may not derive our meat source? Studies indicate that it can be a hormone disruptor for both female and male reproductive processes. And I suggest, if you're looking for more information, check out the research on Green Med Info website. You can check Google as well, but you're not always going to get an unbiased, or maybe you're getting a biased Green Med Info also, but check them both and make up your mind. Don't believe me. Follow the money trail. Why would it have been so widely promoted? Is it just for the benefit of the farmers? Or is somebody making squillions by promoting it? Check it. But apparently not only endocrine disruption, but there are substances in glyphosate, even at low-level doses, that affect the gut lining, disrupting its ability to remain intact, and at apparently only 2 layers of tissue thick. And when you have leaky gut, you got leaky brain, mental dysfunction, and all sorts of other issues, sometimes even irritable bowel syndrome. And maybe it's the glyphosate that has caused issues of sensitivity to wheat and other foods in some people. So, to avoid glyphosate and other toxins in your food, buy organic. Oh, Evelyn, yeah, but it costs a lot of money. I know. But what price is your health? If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Healthy bodies do not get sick. Healthy bodies do not need to swallow bucket loads of pharmaceuticals. Healthy bodies do benefit from some supplementation of trace elements that are not found in our soils, and therefore our plants and our food. In the 60s, I know this is dating me, but in the 60s in Australia, our population was boosted by many amazing migrants from the Mediterranean countries. They planted vegetables in any soil they could find around their little homes. They grew tomatoes, capsicums, eggplant, cucumbers, zucchinis, and many other things we'd never seen before, greens and herbs. The locals thought they were crazy. Fancy growing vegetables in your front garden. That's where you grow flowers. You can't eat flowers. But you know what? I believe we can be crazy like those migrants today and grow our food wherever we can, wherever it's possible. Even choosing easy plants like green leafy vegetables, lettuce, kale, spinach, silver beet, and herbs will make a difference to your diet. We have control over the soil we use and what we feed those veggies and fruits. And if you don't have access to a little plot of soil, perhaps you should grow things in pots. They need a sunny spot and plenty of water, so you could perhaps grow them on a balcony. And there's something really distinctive about the flavour of homegrown veggies. So when the mainstream media is threatening us with food shortages, oh, woe is me, fear, 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 buy up everything in the supermarkets, drain the shelves in Coles and Woolies, I suggest you think about growing your own. I have access to some really effective dietary supplements that support the body to stay healthy and well. And if you'd like more information, please get in touch. I'll happily talk to you about that. And if you haven't yet done my YouTube yoga class in the energy of Leo, you've got a few more days. Why not try it? You can do any of my yoga classes anytime, anywhere to suit your schedule. And maybe tomorrow I will be recording a Virgo class, or a class for the energy of Virgo, which I'll release next week when the sun moves from Leo into Virgo. Well, I've given you some food for thought. Have a lovely month. Bye for now.